If you're over 60, every bite you take matters more than you think. You may be doing your best eating your veggies, cutting back on sugar, avoiding fried food, but what if I told you that some of those healthy choices could be silently hurting your heart? As a heart doctor, I've seen this happen far too often. Seniors walk into my clinic, proud of their diets, thinking they're doing everything right. But what they don't realize is that certain vegetables, yes, even the so-called healthy ones, can backfire. Some raise your blood pressure, others clash with critical medications. And a few may even carry bacteria your aging body can no longer fight off like it used to. That's why I'm making this video. I need you to stop eating these 5 vegetables, or at least stop eating them the wrong way. I'll show you exactly which ones, why they're dangerous, and how to swap them for safer, heart-friendly options. The best part: these risks are 100% avoidable if you know what to look for. Please, don't go anywhere, because the first vegetable on this list, it's probably sitting in your fridge right now. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell. I make these videos for you so you can live longer, stronger, and smarter. And if you find this helpful, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0, your feedback helps me improve. Let's start with a surprising one: spinach. Now, I know what you're thinking: spinach, really? We've been told for years that it's a superfood, and for most people, it is. But for seniors, especially those on heart medication, spinach can quietly become a danger. Here's why: spinach is packed with vitamin K, which helps your blood clot. That sounds good unless you're on blood thinners like warfarin, which are prescribed to prevent clots after heart attacks, strokes, or if you have atrial fibrillation. Too much vitamin K can undo the work of that medicine. It thickens your blood and makes the medication less effective without you even realizing it. You feel fine, you think your meds are doing their job. But inside your body, the protection is slowly breaking down. I've treated patients who suffered strokes, all because they added spinach smoothies or big salads to their diet without understanding the risk. Now, don't get me wrong, spinach isn't the enemy. The real problem is inconsistency. If you're going to eat spinach, keep it moderate and consistent. And always talk to your doctor before making big changes to your diet. Because at this age, food can be your strongest ally or your silent enemy. And not every vegetable is heart healthy for everyone. Let's make sure your healthy choices are actually keeping you healthy. So, if something as innocent as spinach can interfere with your heart medication, you might be wondering what other vegetables could be quietly working against you. Let's talk about one that's probably sitting in your fridge right now. It's crunchy, tangy, and you've likely paired it with a sandwich without a second thought. But believe it or not, it can pack more salt than a whole bag of chips. That's right, pickled cucumbers. They may taste refreshing, even nostalgic. For many, they're a childhood favorite. But for folks over 60, especially those with high blood pressure or a history of heart issues, pickles can be a dangerous trap hiding in plain sight. Most people think it's just a few slices. What harm could it do? But here's the truth. Those little green bites are soaked in saltwater brine so loaded with sodium that just a few pieces can contain over 1,000 milligrams of salt. That's nearly 2/3 of your daily limit in one serving. Think about that. Sodium doesn't just make food taste good. It holds onto water in your body, raises your blood volume, and pushes your heart to work harder than it should. Over time, that extra pressure stiffens your arteries, raises your blood pressure, and edges you closer to heart failure. I've seen so many patients come in confused. They're eating well, exercising, even cutting out alcohol. But their blood pressure just won't budge. And then we look at the fine print, the tiny things they never suspected. The pickles on their plate, the canned veggies in their pantry, the healthy soup they warm up for lunch. That's the scary part. Salt doesn't knock on your door before it causes damage. You don't feel it creeping in, no symptoms, no signs. Until, suddenly, you're hit with chest pain, a stroke, or a terrifying diagnosis of congestive heart failure. After 60, your kidneys can't filter salt as efficiently, and your arteries are more fragile. So the little things, a bite here, a spoonful there, add up fast. But there's good news, you have more control than you think. Cook at home when you can, read labels, swap salt for herbs, garlic, or lemon. These small changes, they could save your heart. But salt isn't the only hidden danger in your kitchen. There's another seemingly harmless vegetable that can inflame your body from the inside out, one spicy bite at a time. Let's talk about it, red chili peppers. Yes, I know for many of us, spice isn't just flavor, it's family. It's culture, it's comfort, a kick of heat in your stew, a sprinkle of chili on your eggs, it brings food to life. But here's what most people don't realize, those fiery little peppers. They can set off more than just your taste buds. Red chili peppers, especially the really hot kinds, stimulate your nervous system. They flood your body with adrenaline, they spike your heart rate. And while that's not a big deal when you're 25, it's a very different story when you're over 60. Your arteries are stiffer now. Your heart is more sensitive, that jolt of heat that used to feel energizing. It can now trigger palpitations, tightness in your chest, or dangerous spikes in blood pressure. I've had older patients come into my clinic after a spicy meal, scared and confused, their heart racing, their blood pressure out of control, and they had no idea it could be linked to something as simple as a few bites of chili. The bottom line, what once felt harmless may no longer be safe. I'm not here to take away your favorite foods, but I am here to help you enjoy them in a way that protects your health, not puts it at risk. So let's keep going. There are still more vegetables we need to talk about, more that could be silently affecting your heart. Are you still with me? Let me know in the comments if this is opening your eyes. Because this knowledge, it could save your life or someone you love. And yet most people never suspect the culprit was the chili pepper. It's not just about the heat on your tongue. It's about what that heat does to your body. Behind the scenes, your blood vessels tighten, your blood pressure climbs. And if your heart is already working hard dealing with disease, hypertension, or age, just one spicy meal can tip it into a dangerous rhythm. Or worse, trigger a heart attack. Over time, if you keep feeding the fire, the inflammation builds. Not the kind you feel, but the slow, silent kind that wears down your arteries from the inside out. The very pathways your heart depends on to keep you alive. Now, I'm not saying you need to live without flavor. I'm saying you don't need fire to bring food to life. Mild herbs, garlic, ginger, a squeeze of lemon. These can lift a dish and soothe your soul without making your heart pay the price. Listen to your body, really listen. Sometimes the foods we crave most are tied to memories and comfort, but comfort shouldn't come with a cost that your heart quietly absorbs. And if spicy food, something that feels warm and familiar, can turn harmful, what about a food that's celebrated for healing? One that's been trusted across cultures for centuries, but when used the wrong way, especially raw, can become a silent threat. For raw garlic. When nature's medicine turns on the very heart it was meant to protect. Garlic has earned its reputation as a natural healer, and rightfully so. It can lower cholesterol, thin the blood, support the heart. Seniors around the world have embraced it. Some chop raw cloves into meals, others swallow them whole, like a homemade pill. But here's what most people don't realize. Garlic, in its raw form, is incredibly potent. And when it's combined with blood thinners, like warfarin or aspirin, common medications after a heart attack or stroke, garlic can dangerously magnify their effects. Your blood becomes too thin. You bruise easily, nosebleeds won't stop. Internal bleeding can start silently and in some cases become life-threatening before anyone realizes what's happening. I've treated patients with black stools, sudden drops in blood pressure, or dizziness so severe they collapsed, all while thinking they were helping themselves with garlic. And it doesn't stop at bleeding. Large amounts of raw garlic can drop your blood pressure too quickly. If you're already taking meds for hypertension, that can mean fatigue, fainting, or your heart simply not getting the blood flow it needs. That's when real damage begins. What breaks my heart is this: most people doing this aren't being reckless, they're doing their best. They're choosing what they believe is healthy. They're listening to advice passed down from parents, neighbors, or trusted elders. But even nature has rules, even healing herbs have limits. And after 60, your body doesn't respond the way it used to. Food and medicine don't always play nice together anymore. The best choices aren't just made from tradition, they're made from understanding. If you love garlic, and I do too, use it cooked, use it moderately, and most importantly, talk to your doctor before making it part of your daily health routine. Because if something as wholesome as garlic can quietly cause harm, what about something even more common? Something that looks like the picture of health, crisp, green, alive, but could be hiding a threat you can't even see. Let's talk about it. 5 raw sprouts. The innocent crunch that could break a senior's heart. They look fresh, vibrant, full of life. Raw sprouts like alfalfa, mung bean, or broccoli sprouts are praised for their enzymes, their nutrients, their raw, natural energy. For many health-conscious seniors, tossing a handful of sprouts on a salad or sandwich feels like a great choice. After all, what could be purer than a living plant? But sometimes, what's alive can also carry what can harm you the most. But beneath the gentle look of a sprout so fresh, so full of promise, lies a quiet danger that most never see coming. Sprouts grow in the very conditions that bacteria love: warm, moist, and dark. That's the same perfect recipe for hidden threats like E. coli, salmonella, and listeria. You can't smell them, you can't taste them, and by the time you feel something's wrong, the damage may already be underway. Younger adults may bounce back from a bout of food poisoning with a few uncomfortable days. But for someone over 60, it's not so simple. The immune system doesn't move as fast anymore. It doesn't fight as fiercely. That mild stomach bug can spiral into severe dehydration, into bloodstream infections, into a deadly inflammation of the heart lining called endocarditis. I remember a patient 75 years old, former teacher, ate clean, walked every morning. She added a handful of raw sprouts to her lunch every day because she believed she was doing the right thing. One day, she came in with nausea and fatigue. Within 48 hours, she was in the ICU with septic shock. It wasn't junk food that brought her there, it was a salad. The heart, especially in older age, is already working hard. Fighting off an infection pulls precious energy and blood supply away from where the body needs it most. Healing slows down, medications become less effective. And the worst part, these infections often go unnoticed until it's too late. That's the heartbreak of it all. You try to do everything right. You eat green, you eat fresh, you avoid processed food. But even healthy choices can turn harmful when they aren't handled with care. So if you must have sprouts, treat them with respect, a quick steam, a light salt. Just enough to kill what your eyes can't see while still keeping the nutrients you need. Because when it comes to protecting your heart, it's not just what you eat but how you eat it, and how your body handles it today, not 20 years ago. And if even a sprout of food that seems so clean can carry that risk, what about other vegetables that become dangerous not on their own, but when mixed with common heart medications? These aren't exotic ingredients, they're often right there on your plate tonight. Let's talk about that next. 6. The vegetables that clash with your medications. But before we go there, maybe you're wondering, what should I eat? What foods will love me back? After hearing about all these silent threats, it's natural to feel cautious, even overwhelmed. You might be asking, what's left? What foods will protect my heart, not hurt it? Here's the truth I've learned after for decades as a doctor. The solution isn't in trendy diets, expensive powders, or miracle vegetables. It's in real food, whole food. Gentle, humble, healing food that works with your body, not against it. Your heart after 60 doesn't want fads, it wants kindness. Foods that reduce inflammation, support blood flow, and stabilize your pressure gently. Steamed broccoli, roasted carrots, sautéed kale, baked sweet potatoes, cooked tomatoes, lentils, green beans. These aren't just healthy foods, they're heart-soothing foods. They're rich in potassium, fiber, antioxidants, and compounds that help your blood vessels relax, your heart beat steadily, and your medications work as they should. Unlike raw sprouts or salty pickles, these foods don't make your heart race or your blood pressure spike. They're easy to digest, easy to prepare, and they give your heart what it truly needs: support, not stress. After 60, you don't need punishment, you need consistency, you need balance. You need meals that don't shock your system, but hold it gently, like an old friend. I've watched patients come back from the edge not just because of pills, but because of what they put on their plate. A warm bowl of bean soup, a serving of leafy greens with olive oil, a sweet potato that fills you up and fuels you right. These aren't just meals. They're medicine when chosen with love, because your heart doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be cared for, one meal at a time. And if you've ever thought healthy food had to be bland or boring, think again. A sprinkle of rosemary, the golden glow of turmeric, a touch of garlic in moderation, a squeeze of fresh lemon. These don't just add flavor, they bring food to life without putting your heart under stress. Because food should do more than fill your belly. It should feed your spirit. A warm bowl of soup, a lightly seasoned vegetable, the scent of herbs in the kitchen. These things don't just nourish the body, they remind us of home, of family, of simpler, better times. But even when you know what to eat, there's still one more thing you must do. Because no matter how good the food is, your heart can't heal if it's being silently worn down by a small but deadly habit you may not even realize you have: a heart that still has time. Your heart has been beating for you since the moment you were born. More than 2 billion times by the age of 60, never asking for anything in return. But now, it's asking for your attention. Aging isn't giving up, it's growing wise. And wisdom means realizing that what worked for your body when you were younger may not work the same way now. The same foods, the same routines, even the same medicines, they can quietly turn against you without you noticing. But here's the best part: it's not too late. The damage you fear isn't final. Your body is still listening, your heart is still trying. Every small change you make today, tomorrow, and the day after can begin to heal the strain it's carried in silence. I've seen it firsthand. Older adults who came in feeling tired, dizzy, breathless, return just months later with clearer minds, lighter steps, and stronger pulses. Not because they took drastic measures, but because they finally listened. They listened to their bodies, they made new choices, they showed up for themselves, one day at a time. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be consistent. Because your heart still has time, still has strength, still has love to give. To you, to your family, to this life you've worked so hard to build. So start today. Rethink your plate, reclaim your habits, refuel your energy. Because your next heartbeat is a gift. And it's yours to protect. These stories and lessons, they're not meant to scare you. They're here to inspire you to live fully, gently, and with purpose. Now I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect. What's one thing you learned today that you plan to apply in your life? Share it below in the comments. Let's support one another on this journey. Let's grow together stronger, day by day. If you enjoyed this video, drop a 1 in the comments. If not, feel free to leave a 0. Your honest feedback helps us improve and serve you better. And don't forget, like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more thoughtful, heart-centered content just like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your terms, with a heart that still has so much to give.